We're putting the Ford Ranger through yet another series of brutal trials, going even further to prove that Ranger is simply built Ford tough. Off-road and uphill, Ranger is taking it all on, conquering mixed terrains and inclines, including a 45-degree climb. Launching up this steep grade with 2,000 kilos of mass hooked up is not a test every truck can take. And backwards? Only Ranger has hill launch assist in reverse, helping to keep the truck from rolling down the incline as it starts driving. The electronic locking rear differential splits power 50-50, forcing both wheels to turn in unison. This means less wasted wheel spin and better maintenance of momentum. Ranger gains maximum traction and drive by locking the back axle and sending out equal torque to both wheels. Time to raise the stakes and the incline. The ultimate vertical challenge, a 45-degree ascent at max payload. Ranger's powertrain boasts a powerful transmission that's actually designed for a much larger truck. The force generated here is like pulling up a second vertically hanging Ranger. Ranger's exceptionally low first gear ratio of 4.17 to 1 delivers more torque at the wheels for climbing or towing. But to go vertical, it takes more than toughness. It takes smart design. Ranger's oil pickup system is specially designed to distribute oil optimally, meaning Ranger doesn't lose oil pressure, even on this extreme grade at max payload. Through the mud and up the mountain, Ranger delivers a powerful performance. Because Ranger is built Ford tough. We're putting the Ford Ranger through yet another series of brutal trials, going even further to prove that Ranger is simply tough done smarter. This is built Ford tough. To put Ranger's customized steel spine to the test, we're hooking up 600 kilograms of mass to the tow hitch and chassis frame and taking it for a spin, generating nearly 5 Gs of opposing forces, pulling and wrenching Ranger from both ends. With an impressive 3.5-ton towing capacity, unsurpassed in its category. Ranger's core strength and capability are found in its chassis frame. From the tow hitch, Ranger spreads the load to a fully reinforced tow bar, distributing the force through the exceptionally stiff chassis and crossmembers. A stronger, stiffer frame improves vehicle handling and maintains frame integrity in the face of challenging towing and payload conditions. This leads to better overall durability, which Ranger proved in over 1 million kilometers of real-world testing. Ranger's frame is 100% steel, 8 different kinds, some ultra-high strength, some engineered for torsional flexibility. It's an ultra-high-tech design that ensures the best performance characteristics right where they're needed along every point of the frame, optimizing overall dynamics, durability, off-road performance, and towing and payload capability. Plus, the use of such an advanced steel composition takes out weight where it isn't needed to make Ranger even more efficient and more capable. Even under 4.73 Gs of force times 2, the truck stands strong, proving that Ranger is built Ford tough.
The engineers at Ford took the Ranger through a series of 4 real-world tests, pushing it to its limits of torque, water, heat, and strength, proving it is tough done smarter. This is the science of tough. The Ranger is built to take on a wide variety of real-world conditions, and to prove that, the Ford engineers are here at this test facility to show how the Ranger's smart design delivers best-in-class wading capabilities.
Today we're going to take the Ranger through 200 millimeters of water at high speed. Then we're going to take the water level up to 800, which is best-in-class performance. 200 doesn't sound like a lot of water, but at that speed it's going to be like a hydraulic hammer.
Hitting unseen floodwater at 25 kilometers per hour could destabilize driving dynamics and seriously damage another vehicle. That's why the front end of the Ranger was designed to disperse the force of the water, keeping the driver in control.
Above this guard is where we've actually got the air intake. The alternator was brought up. We've moved electrical components high up. This has been designed to give Ranger 800mm best-in-class water wading capability.
Smart aerodynamics work like a ship's hull, forming a bow wave that spreads the water away from the air intake as the truck cruises.
With a Ranger, we only call it a pass if we can do it with 1 ton in the back at max payload.
The engineers could be calling it a day, but they're not quite satisfied.
I'd like to back it in and let it idle in the water for an hour. That's something that we've never done before.
Once again, the Ranger slips into the depth no other truck can survive, for more than just a crossing.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. We've got all sealed connectors that are watertight. We don't want water getting in there, otherwise there'll be pistons everywhere. The fog lamps would have been sealing down the bottom there. High intensity, still working.
The Ranger's elevated air intake keeps the engine idling normal, proving to be ready for any kind of waiting situation.
That's 2 hours. It's amazing.
Our engineers think ahead and go beyond your needs. So when it comes to the real world, nothing surprises you. That's what we like to call tough, done smarter.
What happens when you drop a pile of bricks into the back of a moving truck? Let's find out as we put the Ford Ranger through yet another brutal test, going even further to prove that Ranger is simply tough, done smart. This is the science of truck. In this experiment, our engineers put Ranger's adaptive handling technologies to the ultimate test. First up, let's see how Ranger handles a sudden and dramatic change in load. A sudden load change like this could create a potentially unpredictable situation. Ranger's adaptive load control is designed to kick in and trigger a network of communications that calculate the Ranger's weight and load position. If sensors detect a sudden load change, they alert the control system to what's happening and adjust the dynamic stability control. Next up, we continue to push Ranger to the limits. As the driving dynamics change, the load itself or unexpected evasive driving actions make it more prone to roll and sway. But Ranger's rollover mitigation can help to manage the excessive rotational movement. If the steering sensors detect a risk of the vehicle rolling, the brakes are automatically applied to selected wheels, helping Ranger to maintain traction. The Ranger is designed to respond quickly and confidently whenever the conditions change, because that's tough, done smart.
This is Field Tests, New Zealand.
My name is Michael Still and I'm a demolition expert. Today what we're going to do is we're going to have an excavator bucket. The full load will be about 3 tonne, loaded onto a trailer on the back of the Ranger and pulled to site where we'll get some work out of the excavator. The Ranger's going to be working really hard, pulling that load from our depot through some pretty tough terrain to site where we can obviously get the Ranger to work and do what it's supposed to do. The Ranger certainly is very good at off-road bumps, soaking it up. Big truck and very well put together. Because it's a large truck, it can handle a large trailer being towed. So if you've got a lighter truck with a very light back end, the trailer seems to do a lot of behaviour behind the truck as you're towing it. A lot of wiggling, a lot of jiggling. The Ranger, very stable, very nice truck. Technology's right up there, so we're happy with the Ranger's production in terms of towing. We obviously work with the community a lot in terms of removing contamination and hazardous materials from the environment and returning to where they should be in a controlled environment. It helps heavily for the communities that we work with.
The engineers at Ford took the Ranger through a series of 4 extreme tests, pushing it to its limits and proving it's tough done smarter. This is the science of truck. A combination of heavy construction materials was selected for a test of load box durability and suspension strength. These will be dropped from a height of over 2.5 metres and hit the Ranger with over 1,500 kilograms of impact. That's like a cannonball hitting the load box at a speed of 82 kilometres an hour.
This is not something that we do every day. This is quite extreme.
The Ranger absorbs it,
distributing the force through the chassis, down the suspension and into the tyres.
For the Ranger, what's unique about them is that the cross members runs up to 5
3 U-shaped cross members give the load box its exceptional strength. These are then connected to the frame using Ford's unique smart mounts that disperse the force evenly through the vehicle. And straight away, we hit again.
Still got more to go.
This final drop could seriously damage a lesser truck.
That's abuse.
To absorb the blow, the Ranger's bed and suspension work together as one piece. And after that, we add even more load to reach its maximum capacity. After taking all this punishment, the Ranger drives away fully loaded. Mud and ruts are no problem, proving it's tough, done smarter. The engineers at Ford took the Ranger through a series of 4 extreme tests, pushing it to its limits and proving it's tough, done smarter. This is the science of truck. The Ranger is built to perform in challenging jobs, just like this. So the engineers at Ford came here to test its unique tow bar design, torque, and 3,500 kilo pulling power. The challenge? Drag a quarry haul of rocks uphill in 1 working day.
Today, the plan is to use the sled that we've got there on the back of the Ranger. We're going to fill it out with 1 tonne of the rock from this quarry, and then we're going to drag it up an 8% grade.
The intense force between the sled and the Ranger will be measured by an industrial-grade load cell installed on the hitch. To escalate the challenge, we're pulling the rocks in a sled instead of a trailer.
There's a lot of friction, takes a big breakaway force to get it going.
The Ranger has no choice but to put it in 4 low, with all the traction and torque it's got. The load force skyrockets to over 1,400 kilos, with the steep incline tripling the torque demand for the haul. 12 bolts reinforce the tow bar, a unique design that distributes the energy throughout the chassis. The Ranger dumps the rocks at the top of the quarry and races back down to get another full load. Then the conditions of the test change. A less capable truck may not get the job done.
Once it sees that it's getting wheel slip, it will turn on the traction control and it will start to put brakes across the wheels to make sure it gets permanent torque through to the area where it needs it.
It never slows down, never takes a break. We like to call it tough, done smarter. The engineers reported that the Ranger's pulling power hauled twice as much rock as they anticipated. Not bad for a day's work. The load force skyrockets to over 1,400 kilos, with the steep incline tripling the torque demand for the haul. 12 bolts reinforce the tow bar, a unique design that distributes the energy throughout the chassis. The Ranger dumps the rocks at the top of the quarry and races back down to get another full load. Then the conditions of the test change. A less capable truck may not get the job done.
Once it sees that it's getting wheel slip, it will turn on the traction control and it will start to put brakes across the wheels to make sure it gets permanent torque through to the area where it needs it.
It never slows down, never takes a break. We like to call it tough, done smarter. The engineers reported that the Ranger's pulling power hauled twice as much rock as they anticipated.